Go through the job description, find the key terms, and make sure those terms are also in your resume. Why? Because before a recruiter even gets the chance to review, some companies will have what's called an applicant tracking system that uses AI to scan your resume. It's looking for the right keywords. In just a nanosecond, the AI decides whether or not you're a good match. So, for example, if the job description is looking for candidates with demonstrable leadership skills, you might want to figure out a way to use that keyword in your resume. Leadership skills. And I should do that for every job I apply for? Oh yeah. It may take a little extra time and effort, but you've only got one shot to make a good impression. So you should have your resume speak to that specific job. Make it count.
And if people can relate to your character authentically and genuinely, then that is the base of a relationship. And that, of course, is going to serve you in professional development.
Yes, and I will say, I often tell people you have to be vulnerable. And that surprises folks because they're like, well, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be professional, I'm supposed to have my game face on and everything. Okay. But people don't get to know you until you tell them your story. And not just the good glossed over fancy part of the story, but the real story. And that's where they begin to see your motivation. And they begin to see what is your essence. And so I always encourage people in the interview process, don't just repeat your resume. People can read what's on your resume, tell them your story.
Practice active listening. Listening becomes active when you really focus on both the verbal and nonverbal language that's being communicated, and when you respond in such a way that makes the other speaker feel heard and validated. Great communicators know the difference between being in dialogue and giving a speech, between what a person says and what another person hears. So get in the habit of practicing active listening. Got that? Good, because the next practice is to get in the habit of summarizing what you're hearing. This gives you a chance to confirm what you think you heard. It also shines a light on where there's a disagreement or where a decision still needs to be made. Don't take too long with your summary. Stick to the main points. This can also happen after a little bit of time has gone by. Last week you mentioned adding a senior coordinator to help with this account, and I think that's a great idea. Recalling that key concept will immediately demonstrate that you were truly listening. So before you agree to take on a new project or a task or assignment, you want to get as much information as possible. If the information is not already apparent, you should consider asking about the timeline. When do you need this done? What should I start with first? Ask about the objective. How do you want this to look when it's done? What elements should the final product have? And definitely ask about process. Who should I involve in this project? Who should review the work and provide feedback? Clarifying expectations can help you evaluate what needs to be done and how long it will take you. One other question I like to ask is, how do you want me to keep you updated on the work? Sharing progress reports, even quick emails or memos, can do a lot to remind stakeholders that you're on the job and that you have a plan. So if your manager says they want to be closely involved, you can share an update every few days. They won't have to ask you how it's going because they'll already know. Look, I'll let you in on a little secret. Employers don't want to read about your last role. They want to know what you achieved. And remember, you've only got their attention for 6 seconds. So ditch the long descriptions and write 4 bullet points: situation, task, action, and result. This is the STAR method. Here's an example. Condo sales were down over the last 2 quarters. We needed to connect with potential buyers who had once been interested. I instituted a new process for following up with prospective clients. Condo sales increased in Q3 by 30%. If you're having trouble getting started, start with the action step and go backwards. I had to repeat this until I had a few options in the STAR format, and then I picked the best one, tightened up the writing, and added it to my resume. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and download the Indeed mobile app.